Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Intuitive Kids podcast. You're going to love our guest today. She has a podcast of her own. She is Samantha Fey, and Samantha is a expert when it comes to dreams. And I know that this is very, very important to you because of all the kids who are in our kid membership. You know, if you participate in the angel membership, adults participate in it, they get a kids membership, and the kids hop on with me live once a month, and we just allow kids to ask any question, all of the questions that they have, and I answer them as best as I can. But Sam, you are a expert when it comes to dreams, so I know kids are going to be so excited to hear from you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Julie. I'm excited to be here.
Yay. Okay. So kind of give everybody a little background because you wrote the book on this. And what is that book name? Where can they find that?
Sure. So I wrote The Awake Dreamer, Lucid Dreaming, Astral Travel, and Mastering the Dreamscape because I have always had very vivid, intuitive, precognitive, amazing dream experiences. And then I started sharing them on my podcast, Psychic Teachers and Enlightened Empaths. And I started getting all these stories in from listeners about their dreams and their children's dreams. And so I put it all together, trying to explore this idea, this theory that sometimes when we sleep, our soul travels outside of our body. And I think kids are way more open to this than we are. So I'm very excited to be here and talk about this in the light of children.
Oh, I am too. So let's start with that piece that the divine God, universe, source, our angels, our loved ones on the other side, they can use our dreams to communicate with us. Talk about that a little bit.
Yes. So I think that when our body goes to sleep and our mind is at rest, our soul is immortal. It never needs sleep. And so because all of our defenses are down, all of our to-do list, or with children, all of the battles on the playground or the cranky teacher they had to deal with, all of that has gone to sleep and it's just their soul. And so it's much, much more easy for our guides and angels to connect with us in a dream state, which is just a fabulous time rich with possibility. You can use your dreams for insight, guidance, answers, to connect with loved ones on the other side, to get a glimpse into your future. There's so many wonderful things that can come from our dreams.
Yeah. And so how can adults, parents create a safe space for children to wake up and share those dreams or explore them? Because sometimes those dreams are very metaphorical, meaning they kind of happen in this story and it's not precise, but we have to kind of work to put it all together and understand the meaning behind the dream. And a lot of times, I'm sure it would help if kids and adults or their parents try and understand their dreams together, right?
Yes, 100%. So I'm the mom of 3 girls, and I always raised them in the morning. We'd wake up and have breakfast. And it was one of my first questions. I'd say, how'd you sleep? But then I would always say, did you have any dreams? And sometimes they'd say no. And then I would share mine, whether they wanted to hear them or not, because I think it's important to demonstrate and give an example for kids about how important this time of our day is. We spend a third of our lives sleeping. So I would share my dreams, and then my kids got in the habit of just sharing their dreams with me. And I think as parents and caregivers, it can really help us understand what's going on with our child. If they have nightmares, if they're having a recurring dream, if they're having very vivid symbolic dreams, parents can really look at that and think, what's going on in my child's little heart or mind that I need to pay attention to?
Yeah. 100%. And I love that you do that because I'm sure that as you were sharing your dream with your girls, that they were really starting to see how dreams can maybe pop into their life. And when those dreams start coming up, they're more open, more receptive to them.
Yes. And I think we can help our children be receptive to them by talking about them, but also with young kids in particular, I am a huge advocate of having a very consistent bedtime routine.
Talk about that.
I think that makes children feel safe. I think it makes them feel cozy. I think it helps them to fall asleep faster and better and to stay asleep and have better dream experiences and wake up refreshed. And so I think it's really important for parents to have a set bedtime, and it might change here and there, but in general, they know every night at 7:30, 8:30, we start bath time, story time, all of the things. And I used to love to give my kids choices within that bedtime, right? So that, because there's always, with 3 kids, you're going to have one who's a little bit of a rebel. So so I always tried to give them choices. Like I would say, do you want to read a story first or take your bath first? Do you want to wear your footy pajamas or your short pajamas? Do you want to read this book or that book? Do you want a glass of water now? Or and then it gave them a sense of control. And I think it helped that whole bedtime thing when you have little ones go so much smoother.
Yeah, of course. Samantha, I want to ask you too about dreams that you've heard kids have. Because as I've been doing the Angels and Awakening podcast and we share an angel story every Thursday, there are so many stories where people have a dream of maybe their grandma coming to them from the other side, or a loved one coming to them, or an angel. And these dreams are very powerful and very significant. In one of them, I remember a woman's mother-in-law came to her and showed her a recipe that she wanted her to have. And a couple of days later, she picked up a stack of papers, and underneath it, written on the back of an unopened envelope from the mail, was this recipe. And there are just so many miraculous, beautiful, divine stories of the way the other side guides us through dreams. I wondered if you had any that you could share with our kiddos.
Sure. I have so many. First, I want to say that I think kids are closer to the other side than we are. And it's really cool the way science backs this up. Like the little fontanelle part of your skull when you're born, that's the last thing to close up. And it makes me think of the crown chakra, like our connection to the divine stays very, very strong those first few years of our life. Our peripheral vision is much different when we're little. So I think that's why kids tend to see ghosts and spirits more easily. But with dreams in particular, so many people, including me, my children, listeners, have reported what you're just describing of having dreams of loved ones come to them. I had a listener email me that she came home from school and no one was home. And she just fell asleep watching cartoons on the couch. And she had a dream that the phone rang and it was her grandmother. And her grandmother said, I have to go now, but please know I love you and I'll always be watching over you. And her parents came home much later and were kind of, let's get dinner on the table, but weren't really talking to her. And finally she said, Mom, what's wrong? And she said, well, I didn't want to tell you till everything was settled, but your grandmother died today at 4 this afternoon. And so she thinks, she really did come to her in a dream when she was I think she was 10 or 11 at that time.
Absolutely.
And I think, we hear stories. If you read Hello from Heaven, there's a lot of stories like that where you'll have these dreams and they feel so real and it's an actual phone call. When my beloved dog Gretchen passed away, all of my daughters had dreams of Gretchen visiting them in the dream constantly. That went on for months. They would dream that she was still in the house or that they were walking. One of my daughters dreamt that she was walking up a mountain and Gretchen just walked into the light. And so I almost feel like my youngest helped cross Gretchen over because she did not want to leave us.
Wow, that is incredible. I had an experience when I was in 3rd grade where I was going to Catholic school at the time, and the nuns were asking us to think about that week what we wanted to be when we grew up. And I had a dream that night of doing the work similar to what I do today. It was in metaphors, but it was so spot on when I got older and realized. Talk to us too about the different types of messages that can come through in dreams.
Well, you can have messages that come from guides and angels about things you're worried about in your life, things that are stressing you out. You can have precognitive dreams. Some children have past life dreams where they recall a past life they had, and it helps them overcome a challenge they're dealing with at the present time. There are many types of fascinating dreams, but I also think children have nightmares. The majority of people who have nightmares tend to be children, and I think there's a lot of gold to mine there for parents. For example, I had a friend whose daughter kept having a dream that she was on a plane. She was little at the time. I think, I don't know, we were in elementary school with all of our kids. And her child kept having this dream that she was on a plane and the plane crashed and she was all alone on this island. Now, that's a pretty mature dream, but it's very scary, right?
Yes.
And so she kept having this dream over and over. And the child came home happy, school was great. But finally, the mom went and talked to the teacher and said, "Is everything okay?" And she said, "Well, she had a little fight with these two little girls and she's been sitting alone at lunch." And the daughter just for whatever reason, didn't want to tell her mom all of that. And so her nightmare actually was able to clue the mom into what was going on and start to facilitate a conversation with her daughter about that issue.
Amazing. That is incredible. Okay, so as we wrap up here, what tips, tricks would you give kids to really tune in to their dreams and what messages are trying to come through them?
Well, something that they can do before they go to bed is if it's in their belief system, they can say their prayers with their parents. And in their prayers, they can ask for guidance. They can ask for protection while they dream. And they can ask a question. Or if they're old enough, they can write it down and put it under their pillow. I used to like to give my kids lucky rocks. And so I would give them rose quartz, amethyst, unakite, howlite, which are all really good for dream recall. So was moonstone. But really any crystal that your child feels drawn to, and you can tell them it's a lucky rock, or you can tell them it's a worry stone and tell them they can just tell that crystal all their worries and tuck it under their pillow, and that the angels will take the worries up to heaven while they're sleeping. I think it's really important for kids to have these practical hands-on tools that they know they can rely on and utilize. So I love to incorporate crystals and talking and praying and writing questions down, because I really think it reminds kids that they have backup, that they have a team of support. And I think it helps them to have much, much better dreams.
Amazing. Amazing. Sam, we're going to have you on the podcast again. I want to have you on. It's been coming through this entire time to talk about intuition. So we're going to record another episode and have you back on. But thank you so much for being here. Tell everybody again where they can find you, your podcast, and your book.
Okay, sure. Thank you. I love being on your show, Julie. My website is samanthafey.com. My book is The Awake Dreamer: Lucid Dreaming, Astral Travel, and Mastering the Dreamscape. And my podcasts are called Psychic Teachers and Enlightened Empaths.
Amazing. We're going to put all of that in the show notes below. And to all of the kids listening out there, if you've had cool dreams, or parents, if you know your kids have had cool dreams that have come through, or you know they're going to come through in the next 6 months, ask God to bring through a dream with a message to you, and you know that they will. Email us over at juliejancius@gmail.com, and we'd love to have you on the show to talk about your dreams. Thank you for being here, everybody. Have a blessed day. Want more episodes? Check out our parent podcast, Angels and Awakening. Beautiful souls, if you're super excited to develop your own intuition, go to theangelmedium.com and become an angel member today. Angel membership is for the whole family. Parents get access to hundreds of hours of past course content, new intuitive development circles, events, small groups, and more. And now kids get access to spiritual workshops, pre-recorded energy healings, and live events just for them. Start today at theangelmedium.com. And if you're the family who's really excited, you're ready to go all in developing all of your unique spiritual gifts, kids ages 14 and up can now enroll in my Angel Reiki School with a parent. That's for the healers among us who feel called to grow their intuition to the max and serve humanity with their gifts. You'll learn Reiki energy healing, mediumship, how to deliver angel messages, and how to start your own family business. That's the Angel Reiki School at theangelmedium.com. Details are in the show notes. Now, do you want to do an exercise with me? Imagine God is pouring unconditional love through the top of your head. This unconditional love fills your body with yummy, shimmering energy from head to toe. So much so that God's love begins to radiate out from your entire body, from your heart, like rays of energy radiating out from the sun. Imagine God's infinite, unconditional love flows from your heart to everyone you love, to everyone in your school, to everyone listening to this podcast, and back to you. Your angels remind you they're always looking out for you, guiding you, directing you, protecting you. Talk to God and your angels all day long and listen to your heart for the positive, loving messages they have just for you.